The weekly armchair kickoff.
Welcome back, everyone, to the weekly armchair kickoff podcast. We are on our United show today, Devil's Advocate, and today I am joined by two guests here this evening. So to my right, I'm joined, and he's back for the first time since the inception of this channel. We're joined by Kevin Kennedy, and below me, I am joined again, as always, by new weekly armchair kickoff podcast regular, Jamie McKay. Lads, how are you this evening?
Doing good, man.
Doing all good, mate. Happy Christmas to the both of you and anybody that's watching as well. Hope you all had a good Christmas and nearly New Year, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's great to have both you on here this evening. You know, especially with all the football that's been on today, though it's been already a crazy day in the Premier League. And for Manchester United, a great day already because two of our rivals are after dropping points, which we will talk about, later on in the show tonight. So look, first of all, the first thing I'd like to discuss tonight is our previous game against Leicester City in the Premier League. Historically, going to the King Power Stadium, usually it's a tough game for Manchester United. And I suppose for us on the weekend, we were going into the game hoping for 3 points, because there's premature talk at the moment about about a title race. There's premature talk that we're going to be the best of the rest. And so I suppose for Manchester United fans, it was always going to be a massive fixture, regardless of title talk or top four, whatever that situation may be. It was always going to be a massive game. I suppose with both of you, I just want to get both your thoughts, kind of the game. What do you make of the game in terms of the chances we created, and kind of what were your overall thoughts kind of coming into this, and what was your overall view on the game? And Kevin, I'm just going to come to you first with regards to this. What is your overall view on the game against Leicester? Do you see it as a glass half full, a half empty situation? Just considering the fact our rivals around us drop points, Liverpool drop points, Chelsea drop points, Tottenham drop points, all of them around us drop points. And I know hindsight's a beautiful thing. We were the first team on the weekend, but what's your overall feeling about the game against Leicester on the weekend?
Well, since we were the first team on, it's definitely got to be looked at as a glass half empty, doesn't it? We could have had we have a massive chance there. We went ahead twice, and I know Leicester aren't the team that this season they're very good, but we still can't look at a match against Leicester as being a draw against Leicester after going ahead twice as being a successful result, can we? Really can't. And then they go and have a terrible result themselves this just today. I mean, so yeah, it has to be a glass half empty, really. I think that's how I'd look at it anyway.
And in terms of the game itself, we had the likes of Marcus Rashford miss a few gilt-edged chances. Anthony Martial was very unlucky in terms of kind of the offside goal. That was kind of fine margins. And again, you see when the likes of Paul Pogba came onto the pitch and Edinson Cavani, that we kind of had a bit more of a cutting edge. For you, do you look at this game as a missed opportunity? The fact let's not even talk about the title for the moment, because that's still a long ways off in terms of a title race. But in terms of top four, that was a 6-pointer. Do you think this is it was a big missed opportunity? Because it really seems for us at the moment with the away form we're on and the home form that Leicester had. For me, I'm really unhappy that we I know if you talked to me last year and asked me, do I want to draw at the King Power considering our situation last year, I would have been I would have taken a draw. But this week I wanted nothing but 3 points. Are you in that same boat? In terms of your overall assessment of the game, what were your feelings about kind of United in general in terms of performance?
Oh, absolutely. We should have got the 3 points. You also Bruno Fernandes missed a really easy header. I thought he should have got that in as well. And I wouldn't call Martial lucky. I thought he was terrible in the whole game. Really poor. So I think it's just so annoying when we have chances like this to really go and do put some pressure on the rest of the teams around us, and we miss it. Going ahead twice is so that pushes it as well, doesn't it? Usually we're 2 goals down, but before we even know it. But it just feels like we threw something away here.
And Jamie, kind of what's your overall assessment of the game? Because again, I'll just reiterate to yourself, there's many missed chances in the game. As Kevin said, we went ahead twice in the game. Usually we're coming from behind. And in terms of chances between both teams played reasonably well. But you look at Manchester United, we had a lot better chances in this game. Like, what's your overall assessment?
Yeah, totally agree with Kevin and yourself there, Keane. It's a missed opportunity, ain't it? It's the same old story, though, mate. Anybody that watches this program regularly, this channel regularly, and sees me on here, though, I say the same things, but it's because it's the biggest problem at the club. We don't take our chances, and it always comes and bites us in the backside. We should have been 1-0 up in the first couple of minutes. It's just too many inconsistencies in front of goals, and I do get it. I do get that there's some world-class goalkeepers in the Premier League. Like, I'm not saying they should score every chance, but like, they're gilt-edged chances that we're missing. Rashford went clean through one-on-one on goal. He probably scores 9 out of 10 times in training against David De Gea, who's a better goalkeeper than Schmeichel. You know, so it's just translating what we're doing on the training ground into the games. And I thought, I don't want to be one of these that comes on here and be like, the lineup. But I did think the lineup was a bit strange. I think Dan James got really found out, and I do feel sorry for him a little bit. I've been there myself when you go up to play at a better level and you're not quite as good as the level you were playing at. Luckily for me, it worked out because I was very young and I had some very good players that took me under their wing, and it actually made me a better player, and I ended up playing at a level higher than the team I was playing for originally. It benefited me in the long term, but he's at the creme de la creme, and I think like sometimes people don't actually appreciate the jump that he's made, and they just jump on him. He's a B-Tech whatever, and it's like, yeah, well, he's maybe lacking in his game a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, the manager sees something in him, and in the right games, he's very effective. So it's a bit frustrating, but I think Kevin sort of nailed it. Really, there's not too much to add. I didn't like Lindelof at right back. It just didn't make sense to me at all. He struggled in the Portuguese league with Benfica in that position. So why try and play him right back when he's clearly not comfortable on the ball out wide? He doesn't have any pace to then. He's just going to have to sort of sit there and be that defender that doesn't offer us anything going forward, just to try and negate their game, which I do understand the tactics involved in the game, and sometimes it's not always about putting you forward. But I thought Barnes sort of give him nightmares, you know, and he's very pacey. It's just a complete wrong player to go against that type of player. Tuanzebe should have played there for me. But I mean, you can look at the inconsistencies in certain performances. I think Scott McTominay didn't play very well. I think Fred had a good game, although he bit sloppy on the ball at times, but all in all, it's definitely 2 points dropped. You shouldn't be 2-1 up with 8 minutes to go at a top level club like Man United and not be able to just shut the door. So people were saying to me, Vardy's chance weren't going in, it was unlucky. Yeah, it was unlucky, but it's happened before with us. So it's like there's clearly some sort of ironing out that needs to be done there, whether the answer is buying a centre back or not. For me, that's the answer, but I don't think that's going to sort of solve all of our problems straight away. It's going to take time no matter what player we bring in. So, but going back to the picture, it was definitely 2 points dropped, and the title's literally wide open. It feels crazy talking about Man U in a title race because I don't think we're quite there yet. But people are dropping points left, right, and centre. You see Liverpool's result yesterday. I thought that was going to be an absolute drumming, and it was a 1-1 draw. So there's everything to play there. We just need a little bit of consistency. But sometimes I feel that I'm not going to jump on Ollie because I'm behind Ollie. But I feel like he gets the lineups wrong sometimes, just with certain personnels. And that Lindelof decision was it didn't reflect the whole game. It wasn't Lindelof's fault, but now he's injured. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if he wouldn't have played, he wouldn't have been injured. And it's 6 and 2 frees. You can look at it from every single angle possible. But yeah, definitely dropped.
Absolutely, and just before we get on to the next point, for our viewers who are watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Twitter for the first time, do jump over to the Weekly Armchair Kickoff YouTube channel, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We've Man United videos every single week. We cover all things Premier League also. So do jump on, look at the channel. Fantastic guests on the channel as well weekly, including special guests too. So absolutely, do jump over. If you have any comments on Twitter as well, drop them on Twitter too. And look, we get involved in the conversation tonight, because that's what we are about on this podcast and on this channel. I suppose, look, my overall thoughts on the game, I really do think it was 2 points dropped. I think there was you look at the results around us, obviously, that happened after the game. All teams around us dropping points. This is the most open title race in years. And especially you look at Liverpool, all the injuries they have, and you look at Man City, they're not as consistent. You look at Chelsea, they're still trying to bed in a load of their new players. You have to look at it and you have to say, like, did this title race is so open? And I think, look, we'll elaborate on the Wolves game later on in the show, but for me, you look at the chances we had, regardless of title race or no title race, or top four or no top four. You look at the chances we had, we should have been putting them away. I think if Edinson Cavani was starting, he puts away them chances that Rashford missed and that Bruno missed. I think Edinson Cavani, like, he's our best striker, which is the next topic on the show. But for me, if he plays that game, if he plays from the start, we're not talking about a glass half full. We're talking about full glass, and we're talking about being 2 points off top of the table. Do you know what I mean? That in reality, that's what we'd be talking about. But look, I suppose at the end of the day, we didn't lose the game. We're still in touch and distance. And look, we have a massive fixture tomorrow against Wolves. And that is massive if we want to be serious about the title, especially where we them and Villa before we go up against Liverpool in the Premier League. So we do have a lot to play for in these coming weeks. Lads, just kind of come on the point of Edinson Cavani. Edinson Cavani's only started once in the Premier League since he signed. He's played more predominantly in the League Cup and the Champions League for United, but he seems to be a great impact player for Manchester United in the Premier League, and he seems to be doing stuff for us in the cup competitions as well. Jamie, I'm going to come to you first, because we talked about this last night on another show. Do you think that Edinson Cavani, at this moment in time, considering our form and considering the games coming up, do you think Edinson Cavani should be United's number 9?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've obviously spoke to you off camera about this as well. Yeah, definitely. I do think he should. He's got all the attributes and qualities of a world-class striker. His hold-up play is fantastic, and if he's in the box and it's falling to him, you know at the very minimum it's going to test the goalkeeper. It's going to really work the goalkeeper, if not hit the back of the net. And that's obviously just going off of what I mentioned earlier with Rashford. I think if they're Cavani, they're goals, and that's the difference sometimes. The two natural finishers at the club are Cavani and Mason, and there's absolutely no debate to be had about that. Quite a lot of people sort of think Martial's a clinical finisher. Not for me, isn't. I've seen him miss chances against West Brom. To say, maybe sometimes it's me that expects a little bit too much of these players. Maybe I'm a one shot, one goal sort of fan, but I'm realistic as well. I don't think that's the case at all. I just, at that level, these are really good chances. They're clean shots on goal and one-on-ones with goalkeepers. And maybe, as I say, it's just me. Maybe I'm the deluded one expecting these goals to be going in, but at that level, that's what you expect, and that's what you get with Cavani. Your propaganda for Bruno is the same for me with Cavani.
It's not propaganda when it's true. When it's true, Jamie, it's not propaganda when it's true.
Tarzan turns up when it matters, don't he? And it's and for me, he's got to start. You don't play in a PSG team with that amount of quality and keep players like Icardi out the team if you ain't still got it. And it's funny as well, because everyone, I know we were speaking about this last night, but everyone thinks he's a dinosaur. You know what I mean? He's younger than Vardy. He plays every game for Leicester. So different types of players, but for me, he's got to start just purely for the fact of it's like a broken record sometimes. But you can have chances against the smaller teams, but when you're playing the Cities and the Liverpools at Anfields and that, you might only get 2 chances. You got to take them. So for me, that they need to be on the pitch for to play. At the start, I do get why he didn't play. He probably wasn't fit enough, if we're being realistic. It was a late sign-in. Nobody really seen it coming in, and all of a sudden he'd signed. So I don't necessarily think it's Ollie's fault that he's only played one game. I know he picks the team, so to a certain extent it probably is, but fitness would definitely play. And he's definitely a European type of striker anyway. He did play well in the Champions League, and he was fantastic against PSG when they beat us. And if that chip goes in, it's a different game. So he's got to play. He's got to play for me, but he's got to somehow incorporate Mason or Cavani in the team. If one don't play, one's got to play, and it's easier said than done. I do get it, but when I see Martial and Rashford as the central striker, part of me is just like, here we go again. Like, we might get one goal, but we'll miss 4 chances. And I mentioned last night, I don't think there's a lot of world-class strikers out there, but we do have one, so we need to start using them, even if he's 34 or not. He proved against Everton he can deliver the goods when it matters, man. So yeah, he's got to play for me.
And Kevin, just give us your thoughts on Edinson Cavani. Do you echo Jamie's thoughts that he should, at this moment in time, he should be Manchester United's number 9, considering his current form when he does play, when he does either come off the bench or play in the cup competitions? Do you think it's time now that we need to start him in the Premier League?
Oh, it has to be. Just one thing on it though. Are we going to play? It depends on the match, of course. If we're going to play the counter-attack football, sometimes that Ollie sets us up for, he's probably past that stage of his career. But if it was like the game against Leicester now, where it was us with the ball for most of it, then definitely. I thought Martial was terrible the other day. I didn't see anything good in him really the other day now. So I think just even the ability to, shove your back into the defender and hold the ball up. He's a strong guy. It gives you that, Martial he's more of a left winger kind of cut in like Rashford. He's not a number 9 really. Rashford's not a number 9. He doesn't play Mason number 9. So I think it should be Cavani for now anyway.
Yeah, like
a bit lucky to stay on the field against Everton maybe. Had it not
Edison, I shared a picture on Twitter just for our viewers. If you're following me on Twitter, you'll see it. And Jamie, you've seen it anyway. The picture of Cavani celebrating his goal against Everton with Mr. Socko. I tweeted it. Edison, mankind, Cavani strikes again. Just to boil a bit of piss with the rival fans, because you know yourself, I'm on fire the last 2 weeks with the rival fans at the moment, that all these Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal supporters are getting so wound up by me at the moment, and I'm loving every single minute of it. So, keep throwing the salt at me, lads, and I'll keep throwing the content out there. You know yourself. But anyway,
Arsenal rivals anymore? I didn't know that.
Well, they're rivals with Brighton and Burnley.
Yeah, Brighton and Burnley, maybe.
Well, yeah, they're rivals with Brighton and Burnley at the moment. But look, this is a talk about a team who has ambition, not Arsenal. But anyway, so I suppose my thoughts on Cavani is essentially he's our most experienced player in the squad at this moment in time. He's our most clinical finisher up front. When the chips are down, as Roy Keane would say, this is his favourite saying, when the chips are down, you want someone to go to the trenches with. You'd be picking Cavani all day over Martial. I think we can all agree with that. Now, I'm not doubting Martial's ability. And look, on his day, he's unplayable, but how often is that day? It's once every 5-6 games. You look at a striker like Edinson Cavani, he's so clinical. You look at the game against Everton, we'll take that as a massive example. He didn't do well. Let's call a spade a spade. Against Everton, Cavani didn't play well. His overall game was actually quite poor. But that chance he got, which was only a half chance, he takes it brilliantly and scores a goal. That's what you need in the number 9. As Jamie pointed out, against the likes of City, the likes of Liverpool, the likes of even I'd say Chelsea to an extent, against the likes of them teams, you're only going to get maybe 2 to 3 big chances in the game. You want a striker like Edinson Cavani up there who can take them chances. You look at a Martial, can you trust him to take them chances? Probably not. Marcus Rashford, he's been scoring goals this season. He's been fantastic. I love the man. The man could do no wrong. But he always scores 1 in every 4 big chances. And can you rely on that as a striker? No, you can't. I think he's a fantastic left player and an inverted forward. I think Rashford is fantastic left-sided player, but he's not a number 9. Let's get that straight. Mason Greenwood, I don't think we can put too much pressure on him. Look, we all know what's going on outside the pitch. Like, he's suffering, and he recently lost his friend, and there's a lot going on outside the pitch that is affecting his game. I think, look, we need to manage him as best we can. I think we need to look after the kid. But I think with a striker like Cavani being there, Cavani can take Mason under his wing. I don't think, like I said this last night, I think Mason can learn a lot from a striker like Edison in terms of his movement, in terms of how he carries himself, how he trains, those little things like that, in terms of like learning from it. And look, Mason is so talented anyway. Like, I think, like, I look at a player like Mason Greenwood, and I think he's a generation talented. Like, I think he's one of them. Like, he's in that bracket of like the likes of Sancho and stuff like that. Those players like that, who they're saying were generational talents and good young English players. Mason Greenwood is definitely in that category. Him, the likes of Phil Foden and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of top caliber players who have a big future, Mason is most definitely in that bracket. So I think Mason is definitely one for the future. Edison Cavani, look, I think at the moment he's doing so well, and Ollie was even talking in his pre-match press conference. I know it was pre-recorded after the Leicester game, but Ollie said that we're looking to trigger his 1-year extension already, which is good. I think it's all pointing towards we're going to go 1 more year of Cavani and then probably bed Mason in then as the number 9. After getting about 2 years more experience, I think they're doing it the right way. So yeah, definitely for me at this moment in time, especially with Wolves, Villa, then Liverpool coming up, you need Edison Cavani in there. That's just a no-brainer. Now look, we all know there's a potential FA ban. I'm saying potential because we need to leave that play out, but we need to let them deal with that. We're not going to comment on it. We can see how that plays out. Hopefully that's all resolved and we can get a clear outlook as to if he's going to play or not come the Liverpool game. But most definitely, I think going forward for the rest of this season, I think especially against the teams who park the bus, he needs to play as Kevin. So I completely agree with Kevin on that point.
Yeah, same. I thought that was a really good point, Kevin, when you said it's not always about just playing him for the sake of playing him. He's got to fit the system. He's got to fit the style of play that we want to go with for that game. So yeah, spot on for that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a very, very, very good point made by Kevin there. In terms of, obviously, look, we talked about Victor Lindelof earlier on the show. He played right full against Everton. Everton.
Just to go off quickly as well, Keane, before we move off the strikers, when you're saying about Mason, if we do trigger that, I think that would be a really wise move from the club and just wait on Mason maybe another year, because I'm hoping if Adama Traore comes in and he's like sort of ready and up with the pace of being able to sort of contribute to the first team, I don't think he'll start a lot of games, but I feel like that position will help Mason to then sort of maybe be playing the centre forward when he plays instead of playing on that right wing if he does sort of have that option there. Looks like a really good player as well. So I can kind of see what they're doing with that right winger.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking as well. I could see that train of thought. And we talked about I talked about this on Red Devil Talk yesterday. I was on the podcast with Jimmy Williams. Shout out to Jimmy. If you're not subscribed to him on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please do. He does tremendous work over there on Red Devil Talk, and I was featuring over there yesterday as well. So do check him out on Spotify. There's your plug, Jimmy. I said to you, I give it to you. I'm not giving it to you twice today. But in terms of that, I can definitely see what way United are going in terms of bedding in the young players. Like, shout out to Shane Dowdy. He thinks Amad Diallo is going to lead us to 21. If that happens, Shane, look, you can host a full show saying that you're right at the end of the season. Absolutely. This is live and this is recorded. If Amad Diallo leads us to 21, you can host a whole show saying how you were right and I was wrong. Definitely 100%.
I do feel like Ollie's had that chat with Mason and said, look, this situation at the moment, we don't have a lot of options on that right. You coming in from your left and sort of whipping shots in and that. And I think to a certain extent it's worked, and it's another string to his bow, isn't it? But I do see him definitely down the middle. I mean, there's not a lot of strikers at his age that you would put your house on him burying 4 chances out of 5, you know. So that just says what caliber we've got, and we've got some fantastic young players as well. I'm not going to list them off because it'd be here all night, but there's some great players in the youth academy. I can kind of see the overall picture of the club with regards to what direction they are going, and I just hope we start seeing these young players coming in, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, 100%. In terms of like obviously the right back position, you know, Victor Lindelof played there in the weekend. Even though I was shocked to see him start there because Axel played so well against Everton, you know, from a defensive standpoint, and also even shockingly more from an offensive standpoint, he actually played very well. He got beyond the winger, he was getting balls into the box, and it was very uncharacteristic of a centre half, kind of slotting in at right back. But then Victor Lindelof played this weekend against Leicester. Consequently, now look, I know we talked about his performance in right back, but consequently now Victor Lindelof is now injured, and looks like from what I've heard with his back injury, he's going to be out for a prolonged period of time. I'm going to come to both of you with regards to this. I'm actually going to come to Kevin first because he talked about this about me off camera, so I kind of want to get his view here live on the podcast. In terms of this, Kevin, with obviously Victor Lindelof, he's, in my opinion, I've already said it on the last show, I think he's been our best centre-back this season in terms of consistent form. I think he's been better than Maguire and Bailly this season. I think he's been our best centre-half. For you, do you think this forces United's hand to dip into the market for a centre-back? Or do you maybe think is it time for maybe an Eric Bailly or an Axel Tuanzebe to come in and maybe partner Maguire at centre-back for the rest of the season?
The problem is, if you were a different club with 2 different centre halves, then you'd be able to say, yeah, definitely one of those. But we have 2 other centre halves who are injured every second day of the week, so it's really hard to say one of them. Now the problem is, if you go into the market, are you going to get, you know, Upamecano or something? You're not. You're probably not in January, are you? You know, you'll have to go for next down the list. And I brought up Marcus Rojo to you and Phil Jones. Now, the problem is you'll have another Marcus Rojo or Phil Jones stuck at the club in 2 years' time. Do you know? Because you're probably not going to get the guy you want. And he'll probably be the kind of all right player, but they're going to be stuck on a big 5-year deal at the club alongside those 2, drain and load your budget, and you're just trying to get rid of a player. So, I mean, if there's a centre back there that we want, then go for him, but probably go with Tuanzebe if that person isn't available. If you have to go down to the 4th, 5th guy on your list and see if you can get them, then I don't think we should be buying anyone. I mean, it's just, you'll just be stuck with a load of rubbish at the end. I think that's the problem you always have.
And Jamie, Kevin has just mentioned Upamecano, who has a release clause next summer, 43 million. Do United bite the bullet here and maybe go in, look at Leipzig and say, look, we do understand you've that 43 million release clause. Look, I know clubs are going to be coming in for Upamecano in the summer. Look, let's give you 50, 60 million now for the sake of the extra 6 months, and we go in and get him now in January. Do United actually be sensible as a football club and go in and maybe say, look, for the sake of extra 10 million, this centre-back could be the catalyst for a title charge? Or do United does Ed Woodward be Ed Woodward and listen to exactly what Kevin has just said there now and said, look, we're not going to get centre-back. Or look, what's your take of the situation? Do you maybe trust maybe a Bailly or Tuanzebe to come in yourself?
It's a difficult one, ain't it? But I think I thought you were going to say that it's time for Rojo to start, Kevin. I was just like, so. But you talked yourself up when you brought Phil Jones up just after it. I was like, oh God, this could go either way here. But I think you're right. Like, obviously, Rojo was bought to sort of be a starter for United. It just didn't work out. He's just not good enough. But Phil Jones I'm not even going to talk about him. So going based on what you said there, Kevin, I think you're spot on. Like if you can't get who you want, just bide your time, because if you get into another situation where you've got another player in a year or so's time that's not good enough again, and you've just sort of brought in somebody for the sake of it, obviously disappointed with Lindelof, because in my opinion, he shouldn't have been playing at right back anyway. He shouldn't have even been in the team if he wasn't going to play at centre back. I've seen enough of Victor Lindelof over the years at Benfica with watching Portuguese football to know that he's not a great right back. He wasn't a great right back in Portugal, and the Premier League's like, well, anybody with a brain will know it's a completely different ball game with regards to pace. And he's very good on the ball, Victor, and he's pretty good in the air. But when it comes to on the ground and pace, he's a little bit wayward sometimes. But it's unfortunate because I think he's been good this year. But go back to the original. Sorry, I just wanted to mention what Kevin was saying there about waiting for the targets. I think it's bang on. It's a really good question, Keane, to be honest with you, and you've hit me with it. To be fair, I don't think they'll do it. I honestly don't think they'll do it. I don't think they'll buy a centre back in January. It is a traditional, quite difficult market to work on. Are they going to sort of bite the bullet and maybe pay 25 million extra, to get a player that they could potentially get cheaper? With our board, I think we all know the answer. So they'll penny pinch as much as they possibly can. If they had any ambition, they would go and get him, mate, because I do think that he could make a massive difference. But he's not the only centre-back, mind. I think there's a lot of good centre-backs out there that would offer us a good option for that specific type of player. But I honestly don't know the answer hand on heart, because it would just be Wood would like to go and do something like that. Have you not done that at the start of the season with Sancho and da-da-da? But I don't personally think they will do that. I wouldn't even mind us maybe having a little word with Brighton and see if we can get Ben White. He's not playing very well at the moment, but by God, is he a cracking centre-back, you know? He's got all the attributes to be a very good Manchester United centre-back.
Yeah, that's a good show. I like the look of Ben White. I think he's a really good player.
Playing well.
The only stumbling block for me there with Jamie, that is it's 50 million. 50 million for a Brighton player is a bit too much. We talked about, like, you look at it, right? We talked about this on a podcast 2 weeks ago about the Harry Maguire signing and how we got our pants pulled down when Leicester asked us for 80 million for Maguire. I think 50 million for Ben White is a bit steep, considering he's only off from the Championship. Do you know? I think it's a tad bit too steep, you know. But he's a fantastic centre half. But if United want to be looking at elite, like if we're talking about challenge for titles, in my opinion, we need to be looking at centre backs like Upamecano.
Yeah.
We need to be looking at centre backs like Alessio Romagnoli. We need to be looking at centre backs like Pau Torres. Players like that would fit the profile of a left-sided centre back, because that's what we need.
They don't work in that market though, do they? That's the thing for me. Like I said last night, didn't I? Like on a different platform, like United don't necessarily go after the top player. We're linked with the top player, but we always seem to attract a different kind of player. It's like when we signed Van der Beek. I'm not saying Van der Beek ain't world class. I think he is. But we were linked heavily with Grealish, and he was the one being touted as the next big thing coming out of England, and we didn't do it. We went for a different option. So I just think sometimes United are linked with players because they're the best performing player in their position at the moment. It happened with De Ligt. It happened with Varane. It's always the same that are getting mentioned with United. And I don't even think they're watching that type of player. You've mentioned a couple there. Pau Torres, another good player. But it doesn't matter who we sign, Keane. It does have to be at the elite level. I agree with you, but it's going to take time. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. Like, Upamecano is not going to come in for 65, 70 million pounds and just be absolutely fantastic straight away. It's just, if that's what we're expecting, we're in for a fall, because players do take time to adapt. And it's a case of...
Shout out to Zeki there. Zeki's in the comments, lads. Yes, lads. Shout out to Zeki. Check out the Retro Locker, lads. Does great jerseys over there. Do check that out. I got a United jersey off there. The top quality brand. Definitely go out there and check them out. And what you're saying, Jamie?
It's I feel like Ben White's a deal that we would potentially be looking at. I'll be surprised if we're not looking at him, because he's English, and Ollie does like English. People sort of make jokes about the whole Brexit FC and stuff like that, but I do think there's a player there, and I do think him and Maguire potentially could be a very good centre-back pairing. But if he's linked with Liverpool and teams like that, why are we not looking at him? You know, so it's a case of. And I was having a chat with someone earlier on Twitter, like about Neto from Wolves. Why are we not looking at players like that? You know, there is good players in the Premier League. It's just about scouting the right players. You know, so it's but for the short term, maybe we bring Mengi into the team and go down that option just to sort of get by. How are you doing, Tim? Hope you're good, mate.
Yeah, to shout out Tim Stockton, Niagara Red on Twitter, and Tim recently actually done the video for us for our new opening for the weekly armchair kickoff. Absolute top class work by Tim, and as always, he always jumps on the Bruno Fernandes propaganda train with me as well. He always supports that propaganda train. So Tim is a top man. Zeki actually agrees with your point.
Yeah. I actually
just point there. He says Teden Mengi deserves a game. Look, there's so many fixtures coming up. Like the fixture list is so congested. You maybe could see Teden Mengi come in.
What do you think about the Upamecano thing, then, Keane? Like, what's your take on it? Do you think we should go and do that, or?
I think we should. Like, I look for me. I think you look at this. He's available for 43 million in the summer. Like that's 43 million. Clubs like Bayern Munich are looking at him at 43 million in the summer. Like it's heavily like it's not unknown. Like Alaba's leaving, right? Alaba's leaving Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
they're looking at Upamecano in the summer.
Yeah, I like Alaba. Like, why are we not looking at players like him? Like, he fits exactly what we're looking for. He can play left back. He can play defensive midfield. Left-sided centre back that's very comfortable on the ball. That we can play that progressive game if we want to. But is that Maguire's position in the team? I don't know. Can he not play on the right? I'm not too sure. But I think to a certain extent we're getting too hooked up on a left-sided centre back. I don't necessarily think that will dictate the transfer if they can play on the left side of the centre back. I don't know, but I'm not sure of it. I think they'll probably bring Mengi in and go through that. But the reason why I don't think they're going to sign anybody, I'm not sort of trying to be downbeat on it. I would love us to go and do that deal. I think it makes a lot of sense, Keane. But the reason why I don't think they had the left-sided centre back for a really good price in Gabriel, and we let him get away, and he's doing really well at Arsenal. I know Arsenal ain't doing well, but he is doing well on an individual basis. He's a very
individually Gabriel's doing well, but
yeah,
collectively Arsenal are in 15th place.
So. You put him next to Maguire. He's a good option, and they didn't do that deal, which was very feasible financially for us to do that. The deal was there. We walked away from it, and Arsenal advanced, but. Yeah, what's that? I'm not sure Ben White.
Tim has just said, I'm not sure Ben White would have the impact on the defence we need right now. I agree, Mengi needs a game. Yeah, look, I'm in total agreement with that as well. I think
Teden Mengi. Maybe you're right, yeah.
I think Teden Mengi, like he has all the makings of a top centre back. He has the composure, he has the pace. Probably lacks a bit of physical strength, but like, look, he's only 18 years of age. He's going to pick that up quite quickly, as he's
short. I think he's only 6 foot.
Yeah, but like, look, at the end of the day, he still has a lot of growth in him. Like, do you know what I mean? I think that there's a lot of growth in him. I think he should be bedded in. I don't think we throw him into the deep end, but I think definitely like the FA Cup. I don't think we throw him in the Europa League against Sociedad, though, to be fair, because I think, look, we need to throw our strongest 11 out when we play them. They're a very good team. But just on the point of Upamecano, just before we go on to the next point of the show, for me, like I mentioned earlier on, that they have the 43 million release clause next summer, which look is I think everyone's gonna be looking at that. Liverpool are gonna be looking at, Bayern Munich are gonna be looking at it. Maybe even Chelsea, with the whole Thiago Silva only being there for a year, and maybe an option of a third year. Chelsea might be looking at Upamecano as well. I think if United wanted to actually show ambition and really flex muscles, they do go there. They do go to Leipzig, and they're like, look, I know you can sell him for 43 million in the summer. There's going to be a queue of clubs activating that release clause. Here's 50 million. here's 50 to 60 million pounds. For the sake of 6 months, here's money up front now. You take this. We can take up Upamecano off your hands now. Do you know what I mean? If we're ambitious, that's what we do. That's in years past before the Glazers were running rampant on United's financial situation. In years past when United needed a player, Fergie or David Gill would have dipped into the market to address that position. And I was like, go in and get him, and that solidifies that position. That doesn't happen now anymore. And I think that's something that if United were serious about getting a title, that's, in my opinion, what they do, in that regard.
It will say a lot, Keane, if Leipzig go and buy a replacement in January, because the way they operate, they'll be looking to fix up that position now. So they'll go out and buy the next big thing in Germany, maybe, or a young player from Salzburg or something that to come in when he's gone. So if they go and buy a centre-back in January, I would probably say they would be open to doing the deal. But if they don't, I think they'll be keeping hold of him. The thing is, as well, when you're saying we've got ambition, so have Leipzig, so it's a case of they're in the Champions League, don't forget. So I feel like it will be a tough deal to do, but you bang on. If we have ambition and Ollie, player and the board are 100% backing Ollie and they're going to give him what he wants, they'll go and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this just kind of resonates with the comment Tim just left in there. He said that Maguire would be better on the right side. The left side of Sean Telles is exposed and they go forward. We need someone quicker in that left centre-back role, in my opinion, that can deal with the space left by our left-back. And that in a nutshell, that comment there, echoes all of our thoughts in terms of getting in the centre-back.
Great comment.
That I think that's the most important thing, because that's where, we're getting exposed in big games, especially against teams who have pace up front. So Tim, you're absolutely bang on in that respect. I suppose, we've all kind of agreed that centre back is needed, whether it's now or whether it's in the summer. It's definitely in an area, that and defensive midfield, I think, are two areas that Manchester United need to address in the next window. But we talked about Leicester, we talked about Cavani, we talked about Lindelof and centre backs. Now, big talking point tonight. Massive game tomorrow against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Teams around us have dropped points again tonight. Leicester have dropped points. Chelsea have dropped points. Man City and Everton are both off. It's games called off due to the COVID situation. Hope everyone who has COVID, who is in that situation, gets well soon. Even though it's rivals, you put the rivalry aside, and hope everyone gets well soon, as soon as possible, and they can get back to their day jobs. But looking at it now from a Manchester United point of view, City, Everton aren't playing. Leicester drop points, Chelsea drop points. This game has just gone from here to, in terms of height, it's so big now. Historically, Wolves are a bogey team for us. We always seem to struggle against them. But this season, Wolves aren't the same team. They've been leaking goals. They're switching between back fours and back threes all season, and it seems to be a great time for Manchester United to play him. I think, we are on a good run of form at the moment. We're dangerous up front. I think this is, for me, a perfect time to play Wolves. Now, people might reference the Tottenham game, but Tottenham didn't attempt to play football in that second half. Let's be honest. Tottenham, they ruined that game. Then 3 points for themselves. Jose Mourinho does what Jose Mourinho does. All I'm going to say to my friends who are Spurs fans, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so. But with regards to this, with regards to us with United, this is so big. I think we go in there and get 3 points tomorrow night. It puts pressure on people below us. It puts even more pressure on the Scousers, especially with the game coming up on the 17th. If we can go in there and put them under pressure, it could go a long way in terms of the significance of the game on the 17th, which, ultimately will show whether United are a challenger for the title or not. But, I'm going to come to both of you, because obviously United have shown in games that we can rotate, and that we can, set up for certain games and go out and attack teams, or sit back and hit teams on the break. Kevin, I'm going to come to you first with regards to this game. How do you think Manchester United should approach this game in overall, and just give your overall thoughts and kind of how big this game is and kind of what your feelings are on this game?
Well, this is a huge game, as every is, but I mean, even though I know they're a bogey team for us, I'll just answer it pretty much the same way I would every single year. We should be beating Wolves, I think there is at 11th at the moment in the table, so they're pretty far down. Usually, Wolves would be talking about Europa League at least now this time of year, but no, not this time. We should definitely be winning this match. This is a match now for Edinson Cavani. I don't think Wolves are going to try and squeeze us in and play the ball around us this time. I think we're going to have a lot of possession in this match. So I think it's Cavani's game, not Martial. He's the one I'd leave out in this match. But we should definitely be winning. It's a huge chance. I mean, as the Leicester match was, it's a huge chance. Really is.
And for you, Jamie, like in terms of significance, how do you think Manchester United should approach this? Now, I know I'm going to get into predicted 11s and stuff not in a while, but give your thoughts in the game. Like how big do you think? Excuse me, sorry. How big do you think this game is in terms of significance? You look at them games around us, and you look at the COVID situation between Everton and City. Surely now. I know in the last couple of years, Manchester United, when we've had chances to pick up points on rivals, we haven't done it. Surely now Man United do it.
Yeah, it's a massive game. There's no sugarcoating it. It is a massive game, and we've got to do our job tomorrow, and our job is just to get the 3 points and keep the pressure on, hoping somebody's going to make mistakes, because it seems to be a reoccurring theme. Then when the other teams around us drop points, we do it as well. So it would be nice to sort of put a little bit of pressure on the teams above us to sort of say, look, we are here. Like don't slip up, because we're here, and that's when all the consistency comes into play. But our job tomorrow is just to do whatever we need to do to win. Like if we need to win ugly, I don't care. Like I like to see us play free-flowing, attacking football, but if it's a 1-0 job in the 90th minute, I don't care. Like, it's about winning tomorrow. Wolves are a good team, but let's be real. Like, I know a lot mentioned Neto earlier, fantastic player, but their best players against us in the past has been Diego Jota, who isn't there no more, and Jimenez. And Jimenez has got a long-term injury. Cracking player, and hope he recovers quickly, because I generally love watching him. I think he's fantastic. But they've got some really good players, but without them type of players in the team, like Jimenez, he makes them tick. Everything goes through him. Their whole team is designed to get balls into him. So without him, they're gonna try a different style of play, like Kevin said, and it's up to us to counteract that. And you know what you're going to get from Wolves. They don't ever play differently. So I think they'll adjust it a little bit, their front line, because they have to, because they don't have a target man. But I seen the stat that Traore's done nothing all season, so it would just be candid for him to absolutely.
I sent that to you earlier on.
Yeah. Oh, was it you? Was it you actually?
Yeah, honestly, I sent that to you earlier on. I was like, Traore hasn't scored a goal all year. He hasn't scored a goal in 12 months. Just we're waiting for an Adama Traore masterclass tomorrow. Like it's happening, isn't it? Like it's.
It will tell us a lot. What I know we'll do predicted lineups soon, but it will tell us a lot how Ollie's going to approach the game. Who plays at left back for me? So if he's sort of worrying about what's coming at him, I think he'll go with Shaw. But if not, he'll go with Telles for a more attacking sort of style of play. But we'll get onto the lineups later. But yeah, it's a massive. It's an opportunity, like Kevin said. It's an opportunity, and it's a position where we can counteract and put more pressure on the teams above us, as I mentioned a minute ago. And that's all we can physically do. And that is a title chase. We're not top, so we're not being chased. So we've got to put pressure on the teams above us at the moment, not naming them because I don't like them and I don't want to name them. But we've got to stop putting pressure on them teams, and they will buckle. Everyone was saying Tottenham were going to win the league this year. Look at what happened to them. So Liverpool are a bit more consistent. There you go, I named them. Sorry, but they're a better team. But they've got issues in their squad as well. Their centre backs are dropping like flies. So we've got an opportunity here and a bit of consistency, and we're right there, man. That's the frustrating thing, because I don't think we're there yet, but we actually are yet, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does to the viewers, because I know what it means in my head, but we're not physically there. not ready. We're not champions. That team of players ain't champions yet. It's got too many holes in the team. But we are there, aren't we? You know, so if we can sort of gather and keep our Portuguese Magnifico, keep doing what he's doing, you never know, you know. Like, and who knows? We might go to Anfield and get a result, and then it's game on.
Hey, don't worry.
I'm up for a title challenge. I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest with everyone watching. I don't think we're going to win the title, but God, I would love us to go for it, man. You know, why not? Just like go all guns, man. Like, we've got nothing to lose, so. And the best case scenario is we do the unthinkable and there's absolute champagne bottles galore in Manchester. So,
there's a comment there from Tim. Tim has said, part of the growth of this squad, take these massive opportunities when they come. Absolutely, I agree 100%. And lads, I need to jump off for 2 seconds, so I'll be there 2 seconds. I just need to turn off my heat 1 second.
Yeah. Tim, why don't you drop in on the conversation, mate? You've been absolutely spot on in here. Get the link sent. Keno send you the link over. You can come and join in.
Yeah, 100%. I'll drop you the link there in 2 seconds. But the reason why I turned off my heating is my back, the fucking radiator is behind me, and my back is just sweating now at this stage.
Zeki as well. I'm gonna give him a Zeki. If you're still listening, mate, give me a follow on Twitter because I'm gonna check out your page. See if I can get some kiss off you.
Yeah, so look, just with regards to this, lads, as well, I've a comment in here from the Facebook Live from Michael Cuddihy, who was a Liverpool fan, and he said, Wolves are having a dip at the moment. There should be a United win if you attack them. And he said, yeah, definitely a United win. I agree. I think, well, we'll get the score predictions in a while, but I think, look, from my point of view with this, I think this is a massive, massive, massive fixture. This game was significant already. Like, it was already significant, but it's after bearing even more significance now. When you look at the teams around us dropping points, you look at the COVID situation with City and Everton both having to not being able to play the game, and that's postponed. That's after this game has gone from here to here. Like, it really is. And you look at the situation, I think Ollie needs to approach this and let's go for the juggler. Let's go for this. This is a Wolves team who are poor this season. Let's get this straight. They've been poor. They've been really below par compared to previous seasons. So I think Man United, we have to look at this, as Roy Keane would say. I know I've quoted Roy Keane a couple of times tonight, but it is like you need to have that mentality. You go out there, you flex your muscles. You go out there and you show that you're Man United at the end of the day. And look, I know that's the cliche that we're Man United, but you go out there and you show you have ambition and you drive. And we're actually going to get to predicted 11s now, because we're actually at a perfect part of the conversation. Because I'm interested to hear.
Don't apologise for
predicted.
Keane. Don't apologise for quoting Keane. You're named after the man. You can do whatever you want when it comes to Roy Keane.
Yeah, I suppose. But people like, you know me now. The hate is just waiting to come, and I'm just like, look, you know yourself. I'm just quoting.
You know, another thing as well, it's at Old Trafford as well, mate. Like, we need to start getting results at Old Trafford as well. I'm sure Tim will agree as well. Like, he's saying it's part of the growth, but it's part of the growth for these players to start winning at home and getting that fortress feeling back at Old Trafford before the fans get in, you know. So wouldn't it be great if we go in, bring Caicedo in January, bring Adama in, and we're only a few points behind with a game in hand, and we just go for it, you know. It'd be great if the fans get back in and we can sort of see a title be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, absolutely. So look, with regards to this, okay. So we're going to get into predicted 11s now. Great conversation in terms of the build up to the game, the significance. I'm interested to hear both of your predicted 11s. Kevin, I'm going to come to you first. What's your predicted 11 for the Wolves game? How do you think we should approach this?
So, just going to, should we go to for the jugular or not? And we're going to learn a lot from the way Ollie lines up. Something I'm interested in, is he going to have a look at it and look at it in the way of we should be winning this game, or would he be looking at it in the way of Lindelof is injured? So are we going to have the back five, or are we going to go with a comeback four? You know, so it's that's something that's worrying me. I hope we just go for the win and go for our normal back four instead of him concentrating on I've lost Lindelof. You know, that's one thing that's really That's one thing that's concerning me now. But looking at it, I think we'll stick with De Gea. I don't see why he'd again swap keeper. And is Wan-Bissaka definitely going to be back for it?
Yeah,
I have a
he's
dream.
going to be back. He trained today as well. So.
Okay, right. Now, predicted, if I was going for the predicted centre-back pair, it's going to be Maguire and I think it should be Tuanzebe. But I think he'll go with.
Go what you want, Kevin. Go if you go because I'm going what I want to see, and I know Jamie's definitely going to go what he wants to see. Go what you want to see. This is a show of freedom of speech.
Want to see then. If it's what I want to see, then I'd go with Axel in there. Now, I think we should go with Telles again on the left. Luke Shaw, this season he just looks. Again, I hate to say it, but he still looks overweight, doesn't he? Like he's still just running. He looks. I don't know against Traore. I know he's a better defender than Telles, but I can see him getting caught. And then our two mids there, I'd say would be. I'd go with McTominay and Fred. Now, in my opinion, McTominay was probably at fault for Leicester's goal. I think he should have been quicker on the close down on there. But I'd still probably go with him. And then, of course, Bruno, Rashford, up front, Cavani this time. And now on the right is a quite an interesting one because
don't say Dan James.
Yeah, you see, I don't think we'll be going with Dan James. Like that's who I wouldn't be going with. But is he going to put Mason in there? So that's who I put in there. But is he going to do that, or is he going to go with Dan James again and just leave it? I'm really 50-50 on it. I want Mason, but I don't know if he will. That's the one thing.
Yeah, and Jamie,
you go with Cavani and Mason, yeah.
I'd put Mason on the right for this and Cavani up front.
Fair enough, spot on.
Jamie, what's your predicted 11?
Yeah, I'd go De Gea in goals. Pretty much what Kevin said. I don't really see the point of chopping and changing. David's been a little bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes he can be a bit sloppy on the ball in the last couple of games, but when he keeps his game simple, he's a great shot stopper. And just to quote Tim in the comments there, I'm going to go for a diamond. And I don't like it, Keane, but I'll explain to you why I'm going for it. What's he got? De Gea, Telles.
Boy.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a 4-1-2-1-2, and I don't like it, Keane, but I feel like it can potentially work, and I'll explain why. So I'd go with Dave. I'd go. Is Aaron? Were you saying Aaron he's good to go? Is he?
Yeah, he trained, and Ollie said he's potentially going to be available. So
spot on. If he's available, he starts. So we'll go Aaron, Wan-Bissaka. My centre back pairing, I would go with Maguire. And I actually agree with you, Kevin. I would like to see Tuanzebe purely for the fact of they've got pace. And someone's probably watching me thinking, well, Bailey's got pace, Jamie. But the difference between Bailey and Tuanzebe is Tuanzebe, in my opinion, is a better one-on-one defender. Whereas you can see Bailey putting Neto in the air when he comes into the box. So for me, you need to pick the right players that have got the right attributes, and Bailey is a very good defender, but he's got a mistake in him as well. So I would actually go with Axel, but I'm a big fan of Axel. I really rate him. I feel like we've just got to be patient with him, and there's a real player there. I think he'll go with Bailey, but we'll stick to the script and just go with what I want. So I would go with Axel on the right, Maguire on the left. And to counteract what Kevin said, and Tim, I would go for Luke Shaw, purely for the fact of what Kevin said, he's better defensively.
I just want to say, I think he will go with Luke Shaw. but I wouldn't go with Luke. I think it will be Luke Shaw, though.
You stick to your guns, though, Kevin. Don't change your mind now.
No, I'm not. I'll just say I think it would.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
I'm in total agreement with you. I think that there is a definite option there, depending on what type of game. But based on my formation, I'm trying to go off. I would go with a more solid left back defensively, because I feel like we need a solid back four tomorrow night. In the middle, in the holding midfield role, I would go with Matic, because I think he can distribute the ball well from a deeper position. I know he doesn't have the legs, but he's not necessarily going to need the legs against Wolves, because they will only play with one striker and they will only have two centre midfielders. Hence why I've counteracted it with a 4. They will usually go with their 2 and then their 3 up front. So thank you, Tim, mate. Appreciate it. So I would go with Matic, and then on the right side of the diamond, I would go with Fred, because I feel like Fred's energy in the midfield is a positive with regards to buzzing around, getting his foot in, and it will allow Matic to sort of play a more deeper role and help out the back 4 and let him do the running, because Matic doesn't have the legs. I think McTominay will play, but I'm just trying to base this off of what I would go for, and I would go with Fred, because I just think the energy is there. If you've got Fred in that midfield, and this is coming to the left side now, which I'm not going to pick a player because I'm not too sure who I would go with out of Paul and Donny.
I know who I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm going to sort of sit on the fence with it, because it would be one of the two, and I'll explain in a little minute, but I'll just put them both there. Yeah. I feel like if you've got Donny van de Beek, Paul Pogba, do you know what it is? I'm going to be brave. I'll go with it. I'll go with Paul, right? The reason why I'm going with Paul, because I feel like Matic can protect the back 4. Fred can be the runner of the 2, sort of counteracting their 2 deep lying midfielders, which will be Neves and maybe Moutinho. I haven't watched Wolves a lot recently, so I don't know who they do play in there. But I know.
Neves and Moutinho started against Spurs.
Yeah, Neves and Moutinho, very good football players. Lack a little bit of pace, lack a little bit of snap in the tackle, but very good on the ball. So I feel like Fred would counteract their 2 play, and it would allow Pogba to play a more progressive game up on the same sort of lines as your boy Bruno. So I feel like Pogba could influence the game from a more of an advanced position if we have Fred and Matic in the team. Hence why I went for the diamond. And you'll know, Keane, and on camera, I don't like the diamond. But I feel like it works in this position. Bruno can sort of do his thing, push up a little bit more deeper. And I would go with Cavani for the reasons why we've said earlier. I feel like if we can get the full backs up and we get a little bit of quality in, maybe that's where Tellez comes in, what Kevin said. Get a little bit more quality in the box, we can get a goal from a header maybe, and Cavani is your boy for the headers. And I would go with Rashford as the second striker, because I feel like he's getting into the positions. He got into the positions well against Leicester. He just didn't take his chances. And I know if everybody's been watching the start of the show, I'd be a bit contradictive of myself, because he was the ones that were missing the chances I was moaning at. But I feel like he's getting the chances, so eventually they're going to start going in. And I'm a big fan of Marcus as well. Off the pitch, he's been absolutely amazing through this pandemic, but on the pitch to be getting better and better. He just needs to get a bit more clinical. But I wouldn't have an issue with starting Mason either. Don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like that's the team he's going to go with. But that's the team I would go with.
Yeah, look, both made very interesting points and great points in terms of your teams. I'm actually, to be fair, I look at Tim's team. I have the exact same team as Tim, except Martial is out and Cavani is in. Like, that is literally my team. Martial is out and Cavani is in. Literally the same team. Just to give it a rundown, because it's on the screen there. We'll just get it back up on the screen. So my team would be one Tim had up there. De Gea in goal. Aaron Wan-Bissaka right back. Boye Maguire 2 centre halves. Alex Tellez left back for his production. Then you have Matic in the holding midfield position, and Diamond, Donny on the right of it, Paul Pogba on the left. The best midfielder in the world at number 10, and I'm going to mention his name, you know who he is. And then you have Edison Cavani and Marcus Rashford up top as the two strikers. For me, I think that this team tears them apart. Well, it should tear them apart. Like, you've seen against Everton how much control we had of the game when you had Pogba, Van de Beek and Bruno on the same pitch. I think we should, against the teams that park the bus, your Wolves, your Newcastle United, your Burnleys, the likes of these teams who are going to sit on the 18-yard line, you start them three midfielders, you control them, you dictate the game, you set the tempo, and you break the lines. You've seen it against Everton in the League Cup last week, and people say it's the League Cup, but Everton are second in the table right now. They're a good side. Carlo Ancelotti has them playing really well this season. We control the game at Goodison Park, which we don't do. We never do when we go to Goodison. If you look at United's good record at Goodison Park in the last 4 or 5 years, it's not great. Let's be honest. Let's call it a spade a spade. It isn't great. But you looked at the way we control the game with them three midfielders in there. Considering they had a midfield of Decore, like Alan and Andre Gomez, who were all very good three midfielders, they made them look ordinary. Like Donny, Bruno, and Pogba made them look ordinary in midfield. You look at that and you look at the way they control the game, and then you look at the midfield that Wolves have, the Coutinho, Neves, obviously they've like Neto and Prudence and that in the forward areas. But you look how vulnerable Wolves are in defence this year. We need to, the midfield that Tim said, and I'm in full agreement with him, that midfield needs to start from the get-go. You go in there, you take the initiative, you go out there, you break them down. Like, if United score a goal in the first 10-20 minutes, the floodgates are opening, lads. I'm telling you that straight out now. You've seen it when Wolves played Liverpool. When Liverpool scored early, the floodgates opened. I'm telling you this now, and this is recorded. You can clip this up or whatever, whoever's watching this. United score early tomorrow. The floodgates open, and Manchester United put 3-4 again, 3 or 4 past them. I'm telling you that now. I'm that confident with the way Wolves are playing this season. And if we start that lineup, Manchester United are going ahead and they're putting 3 or 4 past Wolves tomorrow. I'm banking on that. I firmly believe that. If we go out and start that lineup, we can go out there and put them to bed real early. If we go out and take the initiative of the game, I think we're on enough form at the moment to go out and start putting these teams to bed. That's what we need to start doing. We need to go out there and we need to make sure that we're putting teams to bed and start getting the early goal in games, because coming from behind is great and all, right? It's all well and good, and it's a great thrill to be beating teams in the last minute and come from behind. But really and truly, with the quality we have, we should be battering most of the teams in this league. Not even beating them, battering them. That's a fact. That's a fact. We've a comment in here from Tim, and it says, I like that midfield because this is a game where I feel we need as many technicians as possible. Pogba, Bruno, Donny van de Beek. I'm in absolute agreement with Tim there in that regard. I think you need as much technicians. Like, you look at Man City, even though they're inconsistent this season, right? But you look at Man City, how they break down teams. You've De Bruyne, you've Bernardo Silva, you've Phil Foden, Ilkay Gundogan, players like that, who literally all kind of attacking-ish midfielders, and they play with that three. Like, they might play with the double pivot. They might say put Gundogan in there as kind of the sitter, but really he's progressive on the ball. You look at that midfield and you're just like, progression. They break teams down, they break the lines, and then they destroy them up front. That's what Manchester United should be doing. We've done midfielders, if not better midfielders there. It's like Bruno Fernandes. I've been arguing with City fans online that Fernandes is better than De Bruyne. Look, stats speak for themselves and performers speak for themselves. Bruno Fernandes at this moment in time is a better midfielder than Kevin De Bruyne.
ABA playing in the comments 4-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the Amy score prediction. I'm gonna get the Amy score prediction there. I see she has it in the comments there. I'm gonna get to that in a moment, because we're getting to that point now of the show where the score predictions come out and the Bruno sweepstakes come out as well. You know yourself. Boyle Sports, I'm promoting you guys for a Bruno penalty. Trust me, we're gonna get odds on Boyle Sports one day for a Bruno penalty. Trust me. But anyway, since Amy's comment has just flew in there now, in terms of score predictions, I'm going to get Amy's comment up here. So Amy predicts we're going to get a 4-1 Manchester United win. Bruno hat-trick. Oh, Bruno's getting on. Yeah, that'd be great for my fantasy football if that happens. He's my captain this week. with a penalty, and Edison Cavani as well gets on the score sheet. She's not too wrong there. I think that would be something that definitely goes along them lines in terms of score predictions. Jamie, I'm going to come to you first. Score predictions in the game, pal.
I think it's a way that, depending on how Ollie approaches the game, because we've traditionally struggled against Wolves because they drop into a 5 when they don't have the ball. So
we didn't have the creativity though that we have now, though, in previous years.
No, we don't. No, I agree with you. So I'm with you, man. Like, we've got to take it to them in the first kick of the game. That's it. I always say, like, on it now, United, from the first whistle. Like, none of this sort of 20 minutes. We can't afford that. The longer the game goes on, the more defensive they're going to get, and they're going to be more hard to break down. And I just hope that Ollie realizes that the counter attack probably isn't going to work tomorrow because of the way they line up. Hence why I went with a diamond with 2 strikers to occupy their 3 centre backs. So I feel like if we can win that, we should win comfortably. I'm not as optimistic as Amy, although I do appreciate her optimism. So keep that energy coming, Amy. But I think we'll win comfortably tomorrow, but the scoreline won't necessarily reflect it. I think we will maybe win. I'd probably say 2-0. 2-0, 3-1.
2-0, 3-0. Lads, I have to come to Tim's comment. This is after making my day. Tim's comment says 3-0, retaken Bruno penalty for the winner, retaken after the keeper comes off his line. Bruno then runs to the camera and says, have fun on Twitter, Keno. Oh my God. Now that, for me, if Bruno Fernandes ever done that, lads, I just want to see
someone, his celebration with the whole hat thing. Someone put the meme of him having the hat in his hand. I just want someone to pop up with your head coming out the
hat. Tim, you're great with Photoshop. Meme that up now. Meme that up right now. My head is Bruno tipping the hat, because that'll just boil the ultimate amount of piss on social media. Jamie, you've just come up with one of the greatest ideas.
Little Irish man popping out the hat.
Oh, stop. Just going back to Tim's score prediction, though. Tim did say 3-0 with a retaken Bruno penalty. I think, 3-0. I think that's not you're not too wrong there. William Bryant, shout out to William, weekly armchair kickoff podcast regular on the London Lowdown show. And he said 3-1 United if Wolves play 4-1-1, if they play the 5. Oh yeah, I think he's saying 4-1 if they play the back 5. Oh, all right. I kind of read that comment wrong. Sorry, that's me being tick. Tim has. No,
I think it's that if they play the back 4 and 1-1 if they play the back 5, is it?
1-1 if they play the back 5. Oh,
they'll play that. They'll play their free. They're free and starting.
And Tim's coming with Lord laughing face. So I'm expecting that meme now tonight. I'm expecting that now. Kevin, your score prediction?
3-1 us, I think. I'm not going to say 0 because we've had to shuffle the back line, so I'm not going to keep a clean sheet on it. But I do think we'll win. I do think tomorrow we're going to have a nice, not an easy game, but a nice win. I think is what we're going to have tonight.
We're sure at left back.
That's why I think I'd rather.
I'm going to come with my score prediction now.
Come on, Keane, what you got for us?
Right, so this week,
are you my optimism of a 2-0, 3-1, or are you Amy's optimism?
I'm at Amy's level of optimism, but
there we go. Must be an Irish thing.
Right, I'm going to go 4-0 Manchester United tomorrow, right. And we're going to keep a clean sheet. Fingers crossed. And I'm going to go with Paul Pogba to get the score sheet for Shane Dowley again. Shane Dowley, shout out to Shane, weekly armchair kickoff podcast regular, and Paul Pogba's #1 fan. And I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes getting a brace, one from the penalty spot and one from outside the box again. And just with regards to this as well, I think the final goal I'm going to go with a shock here. I'm going to go with Harry Maguire to get one from a set piece tomorrow. And he doesn't get them off.
Man United scoring from a set piece. That's a shock there, man.
That's a collector's item right there.
That's
but
yeah.
I always have to throw a curveball in there. I always have to lob in a curveball, and this is certainly one of them. Harry Maguire.
Will that curveball beat the first man from the corner? Though is the question. Like, that's how he'll have to get the goal, you know.
Get Tellez on the corner. We'll beat them. We'll beat the first man. Amy's has come in with a comment there. She said, "Don't diss King Bruno Jamie. He will get his hat trick." I certainly hope he gets a hat trick tomorrow.
Ain't no dissing here, Amy. I'm in love with him just as much as every other Man United fan. But
I don't think
you'll be the first person that I tweet Amy if he does get a hat trick. Don't worry about that.
Can I just say, with regards to Bruno Fernandes, right? I know Amy's probably going to dispute this and Jamie's probably going to dispute this, but I don't think there's any man in the world that's more in love with Bruno Fernandes than I am, though, to be fair. I think I'm his number one fan. I have to state that now. I think I'm his number one supporter.
I remember seeing him play. I think I've told you before, Keane. One of my best mates back home is from Portugal, so I've kind of grew up watching the Superliga in Portugal. He's a Benfica fan, hence why I knew that Lindelof wasn't very good at the right back because I watched him for 2 years. But it's the case with Bruno. When I seen him at Sampdoria, I thought he's a real player, and then he went to Sporting Lisbon and got the statistics. He what was that? I'm his biggest female supporter. Is that just after one matter? Is it? Does it come just after one matter, or are we going to put it's you, Bruno, in your name next time? But I keep the propaganda going. Both of you, man. He's a superstar. But I just knew, when you see a player that he'll just fit into that Man United culture, and I just knew he was going to be a good signing. That's why I was so gutted we missed out on him in the summer before we got him in the January.
I was sorry about that.
Was Jamie, honestly, Bruno is putting numbers up in the Portuguese league, and Sporting Lisbon weren't a very good. They're doing really well this year, but they weren't a very good team when Bruno was there. They were nowhere near Porto and Benfica, and he was putting up numbers, big style, and his whole attitude. I mean, I don't know if you've seen his interview on MVP, but he was so annoyed that we didn't beat Leicester, and I'm like, do you know what? I've tweeted about it earlier. What he put, he's just an absolute born winner. He just hates losing, and you've got to love that in a Man United player. He is the epitome of a Man United player.
Yeah. I agree. And there's actually a quick story about Bruno. I was sitting in Kevin's car. We were actually outside KFC last summer. We're this is just mad. Since you actually brought that up, I was talking to Kevin in the car, and I was saying we're linked to Bruno Fernandes. I've seen a bit of him in Portugal. He's a good player. And I said to Kevin, I'll be sick if the Glazers don't put their hand in their pocket and go and get him. And we didn't get him. And then remember, transfer deadline day, right? I was talking to Jamie Murphy in work. And I said to Jamie, we need to fucking sign Fernandes. We need to fucking get him. He's a great player. And then it came out later that day that Tottenham were putting in a bid for him. And Tottenham had personal terms agreed, but they kind of fell off that deal. And I was saying to Jamie, look, if you guys get him, you have a player in your hands. And then luckily Spurs didn't get their filthy hands on him, thank God, because look, imagine Bruno Fernandes scoring penalties and Jamie and Steve trolling me every week. I think that'd be they'd be riding the Bruno propaganda train and not me, and I'm loving this Bruno propaganda at the moment. I don't think I don't know how I'd wind up writing fans online if he wasn't at the club. Do you know what I mean? But all jokes aside, Bruno Fernandes is the best midfielder in the world at this moment in time. He's the best midfield player in the world.
You've got to have a certain arrogance, isn't you, to put that United top on? And I don't care what people say. We're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Yeah, we've underachieved in the last couple of years. I do get that, but you've got to have a bit of arrogance. And I think to a certain extent, Bruno's putting Pogba to shame because Bruno's the player we thought we were signing when we signed Pogba. But he's got that arrogance about him, he's got that he's got that swag that if we had a collar on our shirt, he'd bang it up like Cantona.
Oh, he'd be pure Eric Cantona, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd have the collar up.
He can back it up though, can't he? His numbers don't lie. Like you said, he is by far the best centre midfielder in the world, and I just hope the board are ambitious enough to build a team around him, because I would be absolutely gutted if he left in a few years to a bigger team, well, not a bigger club, but somebody that's probably playing at a higher level than what we are if we don't get the right players in. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah. One final one, right? And just on the point of Bruno. Just imagine if he like I'm just throwing this scenario out there, right? And people have seen me tweet this scenario already. 5 minutes at a time at Anfield, 17th of January. Manchester United get a penalty in the cop end. Bruno Fernandes hits the keeper saves the penalty. Has to be retaken because Alisson has to come off the line. And then Bruno scores the winner. 95th minute. Penalty retaken. And then he does the McGregor walk in front of the cop. Just imagine that. Bruno Fernandes scored a penalty.
There's no one in the cop, so.
Well, Liverpool are still in tier 2 at the moment compared to everybody else. They seem to be the only place in Ireland and the UK that doesn't have a lockdown at the moment. So look, I think we all might, we're all looking at that at the moment, and I'd say by then Liverpool fans will probably still be in there because they seem to be getting preferential treatment to everywhere else in the world. But look, we're not going to get political here because it's not a politics show, and I know fuck all about politics, so we're not going to get political. But anyway, it's been a great show, and great chat, both of you. Kevin, it's good to get you back on the channel tonight. We'll definitely have you on again. And Jamie, as always, great chat as always good opinions. And thanks to everybody in the comments tonight as well, and everyone who viewed across Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you're watching for the first time, do smash a like on the video on YouTube. Do subscribe to the channel because look, this is really probably our second last video of 2020. And look, this has been a fantastic year for the channel. We've had many great special guests, many great panelists here tonight as well, and every other night. So look, I'm thankful to absolutely everybody who gets involved in the channel and people who watch. And look, 2021 is going to be a great year for the channel. Next month we have our all-female football podcast coming next month, and do check that out. MMA show is live this week as well. I am joined by Jamie Mackie Murphy, Andy Hickey, and professional Muay Thai fighter Eric Hare, and we will be discussing the upcoming fight between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. So do check that out. That is going to be a top show. Lads, thanks very much. Enjoy your evenings, and let's hope that Manchester United go out, do the business, make a statement tomorrow, and we go out and we make a challenge for this title. Thanks very much, lads.
Hopefully. Thanks very much.